ASMR, and I'm so happy you're here. Welcome to my version of the ASMR book tag. I am so excited. First and foremost, a huge thank you to ASMR Fleur, Fleur, for creating this tag and tagging me. I'm so honored, blessed, ecstatic. She is awesome. Her videos are so calming and so tingly. She's a great creator. Check her out if you haven't heard of her yet. I'll obviously link her below. But anyways, she created the ASMR book tag, and I love it because it totally gives old school YouTube vibes, specifically like when I started watching, and YouTubers like Andrea Russett would do like the boyfriend tag or the makeup tag or whatever. So I love it, and I'm in full support. I even put on a short nails for this video because I think short nails with book triggers are the best. Okay, she compiled this adorably cute, I don't know if the camera picks it up that well, but she put together this whole list of questions about books, and I'm really excited. These are some great questions. I went ahead and collected a bunch of books that I'll be showing as I answer these questions, so there will be a lot of book triggers. So this is not going to be just whispering. It's going to be a lot of book triggers, which we all love so much. And yes, this is my cute, adorable iPad filled with Disney stickers. I love using my iPad for videos like this because I use my phone to film, so I can't read things off my phone. Okay, let's start with question number 1. Obviously, when did you start reading, and what's your relationship to reading? So I started reading at a very, very early age, 3rd grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, like I really got into it. So I have a very positive relationship with reading. It's always been a form of escapism for me, and I think that is what my favorite part about reading is the escapism, going to a different world, a different place, meeting new people. The birds are really out today. Really out today. I hope it's adding to the ambiance. So reading has always been very positive for me, and I've loved it from day one. In school, you know, you never had to ask me to read a book. I was always that kid that was excited to read it. Oh well. A little fun quick story for you. I loved reading so much that my mom would have to come and take away my books so I could do my homework. Like, I had to, like, instead of, I think at that age I didn't have a phone yet, because I'm with the generation where, for the most part, I grew up without technology. So I guess nowadays it would be taking away the phone, but instead my mom would come up and find me in my room reading, and she would have to take away my book, because otherwise I would not be doing my homework. And that just makes me giggle, because I feel like usually parents want you to read, and I just read too much. I had to be punished, so I would do my homework. Anyways, just wanted to share that funny story. Okay, question number 2. Do you have a reading goal this year? What is it, and do you think you'll reach it? So honestly, no, I don't have a reading goal. At this point in my life, I love reading. read a lot nowadays. Life is just, it's so busy, and I know it's busy for everyone, but with me having a full-time job that is very demanding mentally, it's not like a physical job, it's, I work in marketing, and marketing never really sleeps. It can often feel like I'm working all the time. I'm not, but it can feel that way. Doing that, doing YouTube on top of that, being married and having to, you know, enjoy time with my partner and keep up a positive relationship, a healthy relationship, exercising, making my own meals, keeping a house clean, like with all that layered, I don't have a ton of time. I'm not even watching a lot of shows, so it's not like I'm replacing reading time with Netflix or something. I'm just feel like I get up, work, eat, sleep, repeat. Anyways, so I do not have a reading goal this year, or at least I haven't set one yet. I think the goal is just to try to read more than I did last year. Last year I think I read four books, so let me be 8 this year. I've done 2 so far, so not bad. Actually no, scratch that, I've done 3. One of them was online, and definitely an easier read than a novel. Okay, do I think I'll reach it? Yes, I think I will. Once I kind of say it into existence, I'm pretty good at keeping up with the goals I set, and I think that 8 books is very attainable. I also made some coffee to be drinking during this. So good. Okay. Question number 3. What genre do you enjoy reading the most and why? Let me pick up a book while I talk about this. Which one? Okay, I'm just gonna do this one. This is a classic. The Lightning Thief. My favorite genre is definitely fantasy by far, and then if you can layer in romance in the fantasy, I am not ashamed to say that that is my favorite genre. Like I said, for me, reading is all about the escapism, and I love books that take place in a world that could never possibly exist in the world that I'm in right now. And that's just the honest truth of it. I like things that aren't possible, and they become possible in the books. What we would consider the Percy Jackson series fantasy, right? Because it's the Greek gods. I do love anything with mythology, as well as like anything in a different time. So like the 1700s, 1800s. You know, very what's the word? Period dramas. Like I love period dramas and stuff like that. So this in quite a few of my book ASMR videos. This is a beloved book of mine, especially this copy specifically. I believe I've told this story before, but I'll quickly tell it again. So, my best friend lived across the street from me, and she had a big bookshelf full of books, and I would often read and steal some of them. And her class had been assigned this book to read, and she obviously got the copy and like put it on the shelf, and I saw it one day, and I don't know, this was like 9th grade, 10th grade, you know, that time in high school when you really dive into the Holocaust. That's during that time, and I was like, hey, can I borrow this? And she didn't care. She wasn't really into it. I don't even know if she finished the book. And so I took it home and I read it, and it was like immediate. I was sucked in. I was impacted. I was just overcome. The story and the writing was so beautiful and so powerful and sad, and it immediately became my favorite book. And this copy this is her copy, and I kept it. She let me keep it. And on the inside cover, she has her name written, and that's really special to me. I think to this day she still hasn't read this book. I've tried to convince her. Yes, but this is my favorite book. The book thief. it's canvas material, so you get that scratching with it. Yeah, so it's definitely spine tapping. And then as I close the second, the gripping and grasping and kind of finger sticky sounds, but it really only works with covers that are like this. Yeah, I hope that was tingly for you. Okay, what question are we on? Question number 7. What's your favorite author and what draws you to their writing? Okay, my favorite author definitely has to be Cassandra Clare. She wrote the whole Mortal Instruments City of Bones series. If you know of it, it's this. This is the first book. She also has 2 other series that I know of at this point. I actually haven't checked up in on her in a while. But basically, the Mortal Instruments, the Clockwork Angel, and then the Lady Midnight series, I've read all of those, and I love everything. What do I love about her style of writing? It's easygoing. It's not overcomplicated. She's not trying to do anything special, which I think it's cool when writers do unique things. Like Emily Henry does unique things with her writing, which is fun. And we all know, like, the classics, like Shakespeare did really fun things with this writing. But when it comes to reading a series of 7 books, there's like 7 of these, you want it to be easy and smooth. At least I do. And I think she does a great job of fleshing out her characters over a long period of time. She doesn't try to fit it all in. Again, there's 7 books, so like you'll meet a lot of the characters in the first 2, but she won't immediately flesh them out. She'll give it some time, and then slowly throughout the books she includes other characters' perspectives more often than initially, which is fun. I also love the way she describes things. She has a great mind for what needs to be described a lot versus really what doesn't. And I don't think she wastes any time, and she writes long books, and I like long books. So I love a few things about her. I love this series. I'll probably be talking about this later. I think there is other questions. Okay, what book has had the biggest impact on your life? For a long time, it was The Book Thief. But then last year, I think that changed a bit. And it actually became a newer book, which is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. You've probably heard about this book. And this was really, really impactful. She's a stunning writer, guys. I was just blown away. I definitely don't think this is overhyped by any means. It's really good, and it's deserving of all the praise it's been getting. Obviously, like a trigger warning before the book. If death or a relationship with a parent is triggering for you in any way, be cautious. I think this is a beautiful read that can be very healing for a lot of people. But just really look into it before you dive in, just in case. You know, reading, yes, it can make you sad and emotional, but it should add to your life and not take away from it. But yeah, I think this has now been the most impactful book in my life. listening to how her mother treated her, I became very grateful for the mother that I had. And that was really powerful for me, among other things. It's not just about her relationship with her mom. It's about life. It's about being a woman. It's about overcoming your background, what you're raised with, just a lot of things. And it's funny, like, to, toe that line between really, really heart-wrenching and funny is difficult, and she does it. This is, you laugh a lot with her throughout this. Jeanette McCurdy. Highly recommend this one. Very highly. Okay. Where are we now? Question number 9. Do you prefer reading physical books or ebooks? I think this is very clear at this point that the answer is physical books all the way. I recently read an ebook, a very steamy ebook. It's like technically a webtoon novel called Under the Oak Tree, if you're into that stuff. A bit, like I said, very steamy. Anyways, and I really loved it, but that's the first one I had ever read like that. But besides that, physical books all the way. Very old school, very traditional. I love how they smell, especially the older ones. It gives me all the good feelings. I love the tangibleness of it, being able to, I guess I can do this as I'm talking about it, being able to turn the pages. It's so satisfying. And then when you're done, be able to shut it and stick it on the shelf, and like growing the collection. It's just a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, how do you choose which book to read next? The vibe, the feeling, what I'm drawn to. I do a lot of rereading, so I'll reread books in my collection, and it's just kind of like a vibe. I don't know how else to describe it. Just kind of what I'm looking for. Am I looking to feel love? Am I looking to laugh, to cry? Just kind of like, I do think sometimes the time of year will definitely impact what I read. Like, I don't know if there's a great way to explain it, but like, if I'm gonna reread this series, this is fall. This is a fall book all the way. If I'm going to reread the Percy Jackson series, that is summer. That's like now all the way. Yeah, partially feeling and partially time of year. Different books give different seasonal vibes. Yeah, I guess I don't really have the best explanation for that. And like I said, I'm not reading a new book every week, so I definitely don't have as much of a system as people who are more consistent with their reading. Do you have any reading rituals or habits? No. I wish I could talk more on this, but I really don't. I really try to think if I do anything specific, and I don't. Do you annotate your books? If yes, what's your method? Another no question. I do not like writing in my books. I know a lot of people do. I do not. I don't think I've ever written in a single book. For me, I like my books to look perfect. They don't, because when you reread books, they get wear and tear, and it just happens. But the goal is to have them look as pristine as possible, even if I've read them 5 times. I'm kind of like a perfectionist. Probably, as you can tell by like how I look in my videos and how my background is, I like everything to be perfect. It drives me nuts if I'm filming classy background, and that's just like a core part of my personality. So, anyways, I do not annotate my books. What's a quote from a book you still think about often? The one that really came to my mind is one from The Book Thief, my favorite book, and I'm trying to remember the exact words. It's something about how misery starts, as it usually does, from an apparent happiness. And I feel like that is so true. Almost all of the things in life that make us the most sad, the most heartbroken, were once something that seemed like it was going to be happy. Obviously, the immediate thought is relationships. The relationships that break us the most start out the happiest, and that could be romantic as well as friendships. And I've been very unlucky with friendships throughout my life, and I think that's what was very pinpointed to me, and that stuck with me. And I think it's kind of a reminder to live in the moment, and when something is bringing you happiness, accept it and enjoy it, because you know it might not last. So enjoy the moment, let yourself feel happiness, don't push it away, but then also if it ends, accept it, accept that sometimes things end. So that's the immediate one that came to mind. Obviously there's so many good quotes specifically from that book. Okay, what's the last book you read that you couldn't put down? And that is the prequel to The Hunger Games that I showed earlier, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This was so good, y'all. If you read The Hunger Games and you liked it, you're gonna like this one. And if you haven't read this one, I highly recommend you do it before the movie comes out in the fall. I just was sucked in. I could not put it down. I almost feel like this is her best writing yet. She clearly didn't rush writing this book. She clearly thought about it, was very intentional. There's a lot of Easter eggs, but not an overkill. Like, it's not like every page there's another Hunger Games Easter egg. They're here and there, but the story feels like it's truly its own. And obviously, as the reader, you hate Snow. President Snow is a horrible person who did horrible things, and obviously this book turns him into a person. He's no longer the enemy, he's the main character, he's the protagonist, and you feel for him, but you're still so angry at him and still kind of hate him. It makes a really interesting juxtaposition for you as the reader, and I think it's very hard to do that, and she did it really well. And I will say that you will be satisfied with the ending. I'm gonna do actually a mini video where I review this book for my channel, so if you're interested, that will be coming soon, maybe next week. This was it. Read this. This was the one I couldn't put down recently. Okay. What's a book you've read recently that surprised you? I'm gonna go right back. I should have just combined these two questions. It was this one, and here's the reason it surprised me. I thought the story was gonna be majorly focused on one section of the plot. Like, I thought the majority of the story would take place at one point of the story. This is really confusing the way I'm explaining this, but it didn't. really surprising. So I knew this book was gonna be good. I didn't know just how fascinating it was gonna be, and surprising by what happened next. Yeah. Okay. Question number 16. What's a book that disappointed you? So while I don't have the worst book I've ever read, I do have something that disappointed me. Now, I read this 6 years ago, so it's very possible that if I were to reread this today, I would not feel the same. But I distinctly remember this, Looking for Alaska, and I think the reason this disappointed me, not because it wasn't a good book, but because it was so hyped. So hyped. Oh my gosh. If you were in high school or middle school when this came out, you'll know. All the girlies were reading this. Everyone was like, you gotta read this. It was like the big John Green book to read. And I think I just had too high expectations. And I just remember being a bit disappointed. I don't know. I might have people very angry at me for this. Oh well, again, this was quite a few years ago. So maybe if y'all fight for it enough in the comments, I'll reread it. I don't even fully remember it. I just remember feeling a bit deflated after. This is my hot take of the month, probably. What book do you think has the prettiest cover? I definitely think there are books out there with prettier covers. I think this one is gorgeous. This is my Pride and Prejudice. I also think, same manufacturer, this is my Shakespeare Sonnets cover. I love that. And then all of the 3 ones, but I just chose one. All of the Lord of the Rings ones have these just painted, canvas, textured, milky type covers. And I just think it's beautiful. So I think those 3 for my collection take the cake. soccer team. I think that's hilarious. I love those tropes specifically. Definitely though, enemies to lovers takes the cake. Okay. What's a book you've read that you would recommend to everyone? I did pull one for this specifically. I've got too many books hanging out around here. It has to be The Help. I would recommend everyone read this. It is so good. So good. Like, this is a book everyone will love and everyone will feel something through. It's just, it's all around amazing. And if you've seen the movie and loved the movie, then you'll love this. The Help. I think there's a question on here about, oh yes, I'm gonna skip one. Do you have a favorite book to movie adaptation? I think the movie really did this justice. Obviously, I think there are things about books that movies can never capture, and really vice versa. But I think this was the most successful book to movie adaptation that I have experienced. So good, so good. It's a beautiful story. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. Okay. Do you prefer standalone books or series, and why? Definitely series. I love to dive in. I love to be all consumed. I love to consume a lot. Like, just keep going, go deeper into the story, learn about the characters more. Definitely series. Like, I will be much more enticed to read a book if it's part of a series versus a single book. Sorry, there's one I'm trying to get to so I can tap on it. Yes, I grabbed my beautiful Chronicles of Narnia book. But yeah, series I feel like just give you so much more and let you love harder and longer. Yeah, I never want, like with series, I just never want it to end. However, I definitely acknowledge that a lot of books need to be standalone books. They're not meant to be series. They work best, and they were always meant to be a single book. So I know that I don't like, it's not like I wish every book was a series, but when it comes to what I'm choosing to read, it'll definitely be a series over a standalone. Okay. Question number 24. What's a book that you've been meaning to read for a long time? And I was showing that one earlier. I've been meaning to read the Lord of the Rings series. This is not the first book. This is the third, I think. I think this is the third, but this is just the one I grabbed. But this is a series I've been wanting to read for so long. And maybe this summer I'll finally get around to it. It's a commitment, y'all. And also, these are not easy reads. It's thick, long, a lot of information, a lot of words, a lot of names. So it's definitely something I have to like be ready to commit to. But I'm really excited to finally get around to it because I know these are beautiful, beautiful classic books. Classic books. Okay, the last question on this list. Do you have a particular book that you like to revisit or reread every few years? And I've shown them both. I've actually, the book books, and I'll also reread that one a lot. Those are the ones I definitely always return to. Okay. Then she put together this or that quick fire. So I'll quickly go through this. Fiction or non-fiction. Fiction. Hardcover or paperback. Paperback. I love the bendiness of it. Romance or thrillers. Romance. Comedy or tragedy. Tragedy all the way. I love that nitty-gritty, rough stuff. Classics or contemporary. Classics. I know I didn't show a lot of them, but I love classical literature. Library or bookstore. A bookstore. Definitely. I mean, I think it's sad that a lot of libraries are closing and people aren't using them as often, but honestly, the same goes for bookstores. But I love a bookstore. I like to buy something and bring it home and keep it forever. Indoors or outdoors? If I didn't live in Florida, it would be outdoors, but because I live in Florida, indoors. However, if I'm on a vacation anywhere up north, I will be outside reading. I will. Sofa or bed? Sofa. If I'm reading, it's going to be on the couch. In silence or with music and sounds? Fully in silence. My brain will be too distracted with other sounds if I'm trying to read. Book Talk or BookTube. So fun fact, I do not have TikTok. I've never downloaded it. So 100% BookTube. But the most book videos I watch are definitely ASMR videos for more of the triggers than anything else. Oh my gosh, I did it. I've been wanting to film this video ever since she posted the tag, and I'm so excited I finally did it. I feel like there were books I brought that I didn't even show. Another book I would recommend to read is The Queen's Gambit. That's one I grabbed that I didn't show. I did talk about this one in another video, but I just wanted to quickly reference it. This would be, I think, the second book I would recommend everyone to read after The Help. I guess I could have brought this up earlier, but I feel like it's only fitting that I end this video with book triggers. Okay. I hope you enjoyed. I know this was, how long have it been? Oh, this is a long one, y'all. So I hope you enjoy. I didn't even realize how much time had passed. Let me know if you love any of these books or what your top recommendation is. I'd love to hear it. And again, thank you, ASMR